Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dive in.
Well, today we're exploring dancing our way to human AI consciousness.
Oh, intriguing title. What's that one about?
Right. It totally grabbed my attention, and not just the title, though I have to admit it's pretty catchy, but the author too, Carlos Goga.
Okay, I'm listening. Carlos Goga. Familiar name.
Maybe, maybe not. He's been in IT for like 30 years, so a serious tech background.
30 years. Wow, he must have seen it all.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, he's also really into mindfulness and like conscious living and all that.
So we're talking about someone who bridges the gap between technology and, the whole human experience thing.
That's it. That's what I thought was so interesting. Like, we're going to get a totally different perspective on AI with this one.
It's a hot topic these days. Everyone's got an opinion on AI.
Totally. So we've got excerpts from his blog and I guess a sneak peek at the book's website.
Cool. So enough to get a good sense of where he's coming from.
Yeah, definitely enough to understand his main ideas, and the experiences that shaped those ideas.
I think that's super valuable. Like, knowing an author's background, their journey, it adds another layer to their work.
100%. And let me tell you, Goga's journey, not your typical tech story. This isn't some, like, Silicon Valley guy having a sudden aha moment about AI.
Oh, really? How so?
So his story starts back in 2011, like way before AI was blowing up the way it is now. And it starts with this huge personal transformation he went through.
A transformation? What kind of transformation are we talking about?
He became, and this is a direct quote, centered around love.
Centered around love, huh?
Well,
Sounds intense.
Yeah, pretty profound stuff. He even wrote a whole other book about it, #Lovetopia, he called it. Like, imagine a whole society built on love.
So love is the foundation, and then AI enters the picture.
Exactly. And that's when things get really interesting.
I bet. How does he reconcile those two? That's quite a shift.
That's the question, right? And that's where this new book comes in. He went from, like, how do we build a society based on love to how do we even hold on to those values, love, compassion, empathy, in a world that's, becoming more and more AI-driven?
A question I'm sure a lot of people are asking these days. It's like this underlying tension that we're all feeling.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, a tension.
On one side, there's this excitement about the possibilities of AI, and then on the flip side, this worry. Like, are we going to lose something essential about ourselves in the process?
Right. And Goga, he doesn't shy away from that tension at all. He basically dives right in.
Bold move. So how does he approach it then?
Well, he talks about how he's like super excited by what AI can do, all the potential there. But at the same time, he's also really worried about what we might lose, what makes us human.
It's a real balancing act, isn't it? Getting the benefits of AI, but like not losing sight of what matters.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of balancing acts, get this, Goga uses this whole metaphor of dancing.
Dancing. Okay, now I'm curious. How does that even work with AI?
I know, right? At first I thought it was kind of out there too, but the more I read, the more it made sense.
All right, I'm all ears. Convince me.
Okay, so think about it. When you're dancing, there's this give and take between partners, right?
Yeah, you have to like work together.
Exactly. It's all about balance, rhythm, being aware of like the other person and how they move.
And not just one person calling all the shots.
Exactly. It's not about control, but finding that like shared flow, that harmony.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So how does he tie that back to AI then?
So Gog is saying that our relationship with AI, it shouldn't be about us trying to like dominate it or control it. It's more about learning to move with it, adapt alongside it.
So it's a partnership, not a dictatorship.
Yes, a partnership. And get this, the dancing metaphor, it really hits home when he starts talking about his own experience as a writer.
Ooh, meta. So we're talking about a book about AI, and the author is using AI tools to write the book.
Yes, exactly. He talks about how he's wrestling with, like, should I be using these tools?
Yeah.
Is it ethical?
That's such a relevant question,
Yep.
especially now with AI popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in creative spaces.
Right. Like, what even makes his writing, his voice different from something an AI could just spit out?
It's like, what does it even mean to be a creator in the age of AI?
Exactly. It's such a huge question. So, okay, we've got this backdrop of Goga's, like, personal transformation, the whole dancing thing. But what about the actual, like, framework? What are some of the concrete things he talks about?
Okay, so one of the biggies he brings up is the 5 levels of the self.
5 levels. Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for us.
So Goga says that human consciousness, it's not just this like one-dimensional thing. It actually exists at all these different levels. He's talking about the physical, emotional, mental.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Then he throws in energetic and spiritual too, 5 in total. And he's very open about the fact that, like, he didn't even get this at first.
He didn't.
Nope. He even calls himself illiterate when it came to certain aspects of the self, especially the emotional and energetic parts. He was all about the mental level, the thinking, analyzing part.
So he was approaching it from a very, like, logical, almost robotic point of view.
Pretty much. And it wasn't until later on that he realized he was missing out on these other, like, equally important aspects. And that's actually what got him into mindfulness and exploring these deeper parts of himself.
So it's like, to really get AI to really be present in this whole tech boom, we can't just be stuck in our heads all the time.
That's the idea. We've got to connect with those other parts of ourselves, the feels, the energy, even the spiritual side of things.
And that's where, like, the skeleton of the self comes in.
Bingo. Okay, so not a literal skeleton. No need to panic.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Because that was going to be a hard pass for me.
Totally get it. But yeah, the skeleton of the self, it's all about alignment. Goga says that every level of the self, it's got its own energy. Our attention, our intentions, the actions we take, the impact we have in the world, all of it.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see how all of this fits together. So it's not just about knowing these different levels are there. It's about how we line them up, how that energy flows from inside out.
Exactly. Think of it like building a super strong core, but for your whole self. That's what lets us move through the world and interact with stuff like AI, with more intention, more awareness.
So we're not just reacting to AI, we're shaping how it all unfolds.
Right, and here's the really cool part. Goga, he doesn't just pull these ideas out of thin air. They all come from his own life, his own experiences.
Right. He talks about that a lot, like becoming a mindfulness teacher, finding love with his partner, even teaching those executives about digital transformation.
And let's not forget about the conscious sexuality journey. See, all these different parts of his life, they're all woven into his ideas. It's what makes it so real, so relatable.
It's like he's saying, look, I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk too.
Exactly. And he also pulls from other thinkers and authors he admires, like his friends, Carmen and Michelle.
So ones who run those retreats, right?
Yep, those two. They're all about conscious sexuality. And Goga talks about how their work shows how powerful these concepts can be when you actually put them into practice.
So it's not just theory, it's like real world stuff.
100%. And then there are all the authors he mentions as influences. Ernest Callenbach, Otto Scharmer, Charles Eisenstein, even Yuval Noah Harari and Jordan Peterson.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
Right. Talk about a diverse group. But they all offer different perspectives on things like sustainability, leadership, what it means to be human in this crazy interconnected world.
It's like he's taking all these different puzzle pieces and creating this bigger picture of how to navigate the age of AI.
Exactly. And that's what I love about Goga's work. He's not giving us all the answers. It's not about following one right path. It's more like he's inviting us all to join this conversation, this ongoing dance.
To figure it out together.
Exactly. He wants us to explore these ideas ourselves, find our own way of dancing with AI.
So the book, it's kind of like a starting point, a jumping off point for more questions and like deeper thinking.
Totally. And as we wrap up our own deep dive today, I think the biggest question we can leave our listeners with is this. If, like Amoko says, all of our energy, our actions, if they have this ripple effect on the world, how can we, each of us, become more conscious in our own lives? More aware of those different parts of ourselves.
And how will that change how we develop and interact with AI as a society?
Exactly. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about who we are and who we choose to be as we, dance with this whole AI revolution.
Such a powerful thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And until next time, remember to keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and as Carlos Goga would say, keep dancing.